Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Hi everyone, Jason Hunt here, inviting you to join us every Saturday morning for news. The week's headlines in science fiction, fantasy, horror, comic books, video games, plus Comic-Con updates and the weather, and the occasional interview along the way. We call it Good Morning Multiverse. We hope you join us every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, right here on Sci-Fi For Me TV.
podcast. It's Critical Blast.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, Chief Envelope Licker for Critical Blast Logistics, Myopic Proofreader for Critical Blast Publishing, and yes, I do answer the phones for Critical Blast Consulting and help you with your data issues on your crowdfunder, putting my 35 years of IT and database design to your service. Folks, there's trouble in River City. There's trouble with a capital P, and that rhymes with D, and that stands for devil. And who better to tell you about that other than the creator of the Murder City Devil, ladies and gentlemen, Evan Quiring.
Yes. Oh, hey, RJ. How's it going? Sorry, I was just
Hi there.
reading my latest issue of Murder City Devil. Of course, I wrote and drew this, but, I'd like to check it out. How you doing?
Wrote and drew. Wow, this is double threat here. So
Yeah, I wrote, well, here's the series. I might as well do that. Here we go. Both issues 1 and 2 there, which was written, penciled, inked, lettered, created by me, and colored by Diego Vasquez. So that's,
so you got tired by the time it was coloring time. You just
exactly. I was just like, okay, here's a page. You do it. And it's like, and then I get back to it, check it out, rearrange the lettering and stuff like that, and then it's get it ready, and then I'll just be, as soon as I'm ready to send it, I'll be like, oh wait, I got a better line I could put in there, and then I change the lettering again. And it's like, no, this joke is funny, or this sounds so cool, so I'm going to change that. So it's ready to one more time. With this is the variant cover, I should add. There's only 3 of these left.
Different.
I'm only printing up 10 of these babies, so it's because then they'll be rare.
Yeah, like the limited print run like that.
Yeah.
So fair warning to everybody in the chat. I have read this second issue. I've read the first issue. This is a fun book, and hopefully I'll be able to ask you questions that I already know the answers to, without getting into too much spoiler territory here. We do have an active chat. Mike Walters has stopped by to say hi and share the link out. We do appreciate that. Woody is here. Go Granny Go. Yeah, the Grandma Chainsaw looks like it's going to be a fun book. My friends Alan and Will. Pops is in the chat. We are now simulcasting to the Madness Comics Network. Hope I said that right. And yes, it is Murder City, although technically it's River City. Technically it's Detroit, I think.
Yeah, it's some city in the U.S. It's kind of like Chicago, but not. So it's like
Gotham.
Yeah, Metropolis, or just to a lesser extent Star City, I suppose.
One of those ones we make up.
Yeah, in any case, it's a city. So
exactly. Folks, if you're watching us on the YouTube network right now, on either the Critical Blast channel or the Madness Comics Network channel, if you look right below, you will see the link that will take you to the Kickstarter. It's this link right here that Pops has thrown into the chat. You can click that anytime, and we encourage you to. We're at 50 backers right now. I'd love to see that number be higher by the time the show's over.
Yeah, why not? Take a chance. Come on, it's a good read. What do you have to lose? Well, maybe.
By the way, you just held up issue number 2, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I have issue 2 and issue 2. What's up? I'm not supposed
to. But that's the thing. We're crowdfunding. Are you telling me that this thing is done? Are you telling me that you froze?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't frozen.
You quit moving for a very, very long time when I asked you if the book was actually done.
I was like, oh my goodness, was I not supposed to show these fine quality products that I created? I apologize, good sir. There's also issue 1, and remember, there's only 3 of these left, so make sure to get to that Kickstarter before October 23rd, or that's it. These are no more.
Pick one of the remaining 3.
Yeah.
One of the remaining 3 of that one. Yeah, you've got a delivery date of November 2022. That's next month. That's because these are printed. The artwork's done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I that's the thing with me is just because I'm pretty much it's like a 2-man operation. Like I do all the stuff and then Diego colors it. It's like I don't launch a Kickstarter until I actually have everything done. Because for me, it's like I don't want to have to wait like 6 months for something. And sometimes that happens. That's fine for whatever reason. But if it's for me, like it's just 2-man operation. So I'll have everything done first and then be like, go and ready to do that. So
Yeah, you're in that unique situation where you're handling all ends of production.
yeah.
I mean, if you get into a fight with your artist, there's a therapist I can recommend you to.
Well, that would be me. Like that, I would be the artist and the writer. So I just like
Exactly.
yell at a mirror, I guess. I don't know. Like, what the hell's your problem? Hurry up, draw faster. You wrote this scene is stupid. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Like, so yeah. I mean, and then I'm not gonna argue with Diego because I mean, pretty much I'll like send him, like a page, like the inks and stuff like that. I'll even letter it so he knows like what the hell the story is and stuff. And then I'll like write this whole like manifesto of like notes and stuff and like tell him to put all this stuff in here and then he'll do it. And it's like, I think like usually it's pretty much like on point and maybe there'll be like 1 or 2 changes or he'll do something that I hadn't even thought of. And I'm like, yeah, you know what, leave that. So he's really good. So
Yeah, I mean, having written a comic book story now of my own, not published yet. It's out in front of people. It's going to be an anthology, but half of a comic book script is not story, but art direction, saying, hey, this is how I see this, do what you want with this. This should copy this certain kind of classical picture.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's always tough to have that someone describe what's inside in your mind to someone else. And that's why for me, it's like if I'm doing my own books, it's like I kind of skip a few steps because it's like, I'll just do a rough and like this and maybe write some dialogue, like, and then usually change it at like the dialogue at the last minute. But that's just always like if you're a writer artist, it's a little bit easier. But yeah, it's like writing for someone else. I've had scripts where I've done like freelance work for like artwork for comics, and then sometimes it's just because I've done like many books now. And I've been doing, I guess, indie books since 2002 on and off. But since 2016, I've been doing it like seriously, like trying to really make a go at it kind of thing. But sometimes it's like I'll get a script and then I'll say to the writer, you might want to break this up or something, just because it's like I'll get a script saying like, for example, character X walks into a room, sits down, drinks a glass of water. It's like, I can't draw that in one panel.
Yeah.
So
I get you.
Like that kind of thing. So, and that's the thing. It's and depending, like sometimes like writers, I like it when it's more like the Marvel method because they just say what happens on the page and it's like, great, I'll just take care of the rest and do the layouts and stuff like that.
Make that happen.
Yeah, page layouts I'd like to think are my strong points, but for page design. But but a lot of times, some writers will be like, no, go exactly. It's like, all right, whatever, hey, I
found it very difficult to write a comic book script in Word format without having a layout. My art skills make Matt Fiesel look like Rembrandt, but I still had to take a page, draw panels, put things in them, and I've got these stick figures, shooting, square block guns at each other. I'm like, okay, but now I've got something that I can say this. Now I can describe this panel. This now I can describe.
Yeah,
this
totally.
panel.
Yeah, and then honestly, I think that for me that works great too, because like sometimes if a writer, sometimes it's hard to describe, so I'll just be like, draw it to the best of your ability. Stick figures are fine, whatever, and then I'll take care of the rest, kind of thing. So yeah,
I just lose track of what happened visually in my head if I don't have visuals to work off of.
Oh yeah, it's not easy. That's the thing. A lot of folks think, oh, comics are easy, and you can do it. What do you mean you can't do it in a day? Well, some people can, but but it's really like a lot of planning and stuff like that. And I mean, that's the thing about comics is like there aren't really any rules depending what you're going for. Depending what kind of book you're going for. Like, if it's something like I don't know, an Alex Ross book or something compared to say like Peanuts. I mean, they're both like valid art forms, right? But it's totally different. It's the same language but different, if that makes sense. I don't know.
It's Scott McCloud touches on this in Understanding Comics when he talks about the I can't remember the abstraction of from the realist to the more cartoonish, and he takes something like a chart and has like the the Alex Ross drawings to the Peanuts drawings, and then various stages in between.
Yeah.
And it's like, we still recognize a face as a face. And then, of course, he cleverly says, what's the ultimate abstraction? He draws like these horizontal lines. He says, I can show you with 4 vertical lines. And he just spells the word face. He's like, and you still see a face in your head just looking at the word.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of a neat kind of thing. There's a lot of things you can do with comics. That's why it's just such a fun medium to work in. Because like sometimes you can, draw it like really super hyper realistic, and then you can just go very abstract if you want. And either way, depending what you're going for, of course. Like I don't know, like Love and Rockets is like my favorite comic book, probably, or series. But yeah, I really like reading the old Amazing Spider-Man or something like that. You know what I mean? Or something that's totally a worlds away kind of thing but both are really good, so.
Exactly. Different styles, but you can enjoy them both.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing about comics. The great thing is that there's something for everyone, so it's like, well, you don't like this book? Well, read this, but that's cool. Yeah. So, I mean,
try another one.
Yeah, exactly.
I think people get angry though, when they've tried the one and they like it, and then it becomes something different. Then it feels like something's taken away from them.
Well,
and it's going to happen. You get a new writer on there, and you're like, "This sucks," and they're like,
well,
"Yeah, but it used to be."
I know what you mean. I had oh god, you're gonna make fun being that I'm Canadian. I was like really like Alpha Flight. Shut up, everybody. And if you're Canadian, you'd understand. So anyways, I really liked Alpha Flight, but when they did, I think they did like breakdowns, and they brought back Guardian or whatever, James Hudson, back for real. I didn't really like it, and I was just like, they became like Canada's Avengers, and it's like, no, damn it, they're Alpha Flight's up. Anyways, I digress. So
the U.S. has Canada's Alpha Flight is Avengers. Yeah,
and it's like
the U.S. is Alpha Flight.
Well, yeah, but I mean, and I mean that depends. It's like, I mean, I can go on about like, and it's all just preferential thing. But the thing is, it doesn't matter, because I can read other issues of Alpha Flight. You know what I mean? And it's, I'm just saying.
I've got an understanding of it now because we had a food truck come through town last month, and they served poutine. And I'm told now that because I ordered that, I'm officially adopted Canadian. It was poutine and I don't know, some pastry that was like the size of my foot. I can't recall what it was now. Beaver tail.
Beaver tail. Yeah. That's more. I'm from Winnipeg. You damn. I'm from Winnipeg. You idiot. No, I'm not you. I'm just saying.
I know.
But that's more like Eastern Canadian, but whatever. Like that's totally cool. Well, I don't know. We have like poutineries like everywhere now, so it
was good stuff. Captain Infinity has joined the chat, as has Gingy Gingerton. Glad to have you guys here, because we're getting ready to bring the Kickstarter up here. And that looks a little like this. Now, I love the look of the devil. I will say I like the look of the devil better on the cover of 1 than on the cover of 2. And I don't know if it's because it was like had that Batman Beyond kind of all black to the face. You couldn't see the detail of the face yet. But he's sufficiently frightening looking, and from what I can tell, not a costume.
It's kind of a, how do I put it? Okay, so the character is based on a character from the 19th century called Spring-Heeled Jack. So it's like the basis of the series, like, what if Spring-Heeled Jack came back to the 21st century? Hilarity ensues. So I don't. It's not Spring-Heeled Jack per se. It's someone related to him, that kind of deal. So, and I just, for the costume, I kind of just based it on a few things, like a bit of a Grendel, the Rocketeer. Was it the Earth X Daredevil a bit? And then just was like, oh, I'll put a chaos symbol on him, because I couldn't think like what the hell to put on this thing. So it's sort of like, I tried to have it that it was like this weird costume, and you don't know exactly what era it's from. So, and then that's that. So, I mean, and then put a belt on him. Why not?
And it works.
Yeah.
He's literally a guy who, he was scratched by a radioactive devil. So
yeah. Yeah, those. Well, in the old funeral home, story takes place in 1996, and I think I said this last interview was like I based it on a sort of real life occurrence where I was walking around. Used to live by like a cemetery when I was about 20 years old. This older part of town, and there was this abandoned house by the cemetery. So some friends and I were like, let's go inside, and then we go inside, and I stopped because I saw all these like stickers on the door of crucifixes, and I thought it was like the weirdest thing. And again, like I'm not superstitious or anything like that, but it was just like something told me like this is weird. Like just I don't know. My friend went in and checked it out, nothing was there. But and then the house ended up getting like demolished like month later, which was really weird. So I was like, okay. Anyway, so I put that in the story. It's 1996. Guy goes in there, walks around this abandoned funeral home, finds like some dead bodies still in there and stuff. And then there's the radioactive devil, so to speak, is a cursed devil statue. So then he gets scratched with that, and then it incubates the power, the evil power, whatever, incubates within this guy. And then 25 years later, he becomes the Murder City Devil, which is the nickname the press gave him. So they got to call him something. So
Yeah. Now it's interesting that you said the evil power incubates in him because he's a good guy. I mean, he's the hero.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like evil power. It's this devil. It's devil oriented. And also comes down to the question: what would you do if you were given like these powers? So first of all, for me, where I live, it's the crime's kind of getting a little bad here, even for like Winnipeg. Like it's always been kind of rough, Canadian terms, right? But but it's kind of now it's getting like a little getting really stupid. So I was like, if I had these powers, what would I do? And stuff like that, and prevent people from getting randomly beaten up and stuff, and randomly assaulted, which is happening a lot in my city.
And that assumes that if you've got powers from a devil, that you do have the control over them rather than them having the control over you.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
So because it is, I'm just flashing some logos up at the top so that everybody understands we're on both networks at the moment. It's just the way it's just the way it works. But even though he's doing good things, he's going after bad people. He's going after, he in one scene in the first book. So I think I can spoil a little bit of the first issue at least.
Sure.
He's got a chokehold on a mobster.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about a lot of mafia, especially the Italian mafia. They're very Catholic.
Well,
he had a crucifix.
Yeah. I had it like a Protestant crucifix. Because I actually, long time ago, used to wear one. But anyways, that was so. But yeah, he had like a kind of a with the.
Let me give you the big screen.
There's that is the page which you're speaking of right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, the good guy is repelled by a holy symbol, which is a real interesting dichotomy of what he's doing and where his powers come from.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me a lot of, remember Marvel in the 70s when they had ideas and they did Son of Satan and then Satana, the devil's daughter. Like, this is literally, and Jack Kirby did it with Etrigan the demon. Literally characters from hell that are doing the hero work.
Well, I mean, that's it. That's the juxtapose of it, like it's, and that's the thing is like he's the hero or anti-hero now because it's like he's trying to help people, but the citizens are like they stare, frightened of him because he's like terrifying. So it's like, plus also I have it that since he's also new with these powers, it's kind of like he's a little shaky with them and he's not very trained, like especially in the first issue, like he'll just go after the bad guys, but then one of them's wearing a crucifix, so he's like, oh, like that, and then the bad guy gets away, right? That being said, Murder City Devil still keeps the money, but there's like layers behind that, but like that was kind of the thing. Like I want to have it that be his kryptonite would be like religious symbols and stuff like that, and kind of explore that further down the
now symbols, not just not necessarily Christian ones,
exactly.
Because what was it? It was there was an episode, not even an episode, an issue of Uncanny X-Men,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a vampire,
Mm-hmm.
literal, honest to God Dracula. Might have even been Dracula.
Yeah, I think it was.
And Wolverine goes at him and he makes a cross, and Dracula's like, "You have to believe," and just goes into the attack, and it does absolutely nothing to him.
Yeah.
And then Kitty Pryde, he chokeholds her, and her Star of David,
Yeah.
because she's a Jewish character,
Mm-hmm.
burns his hand.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever seen, oh, it's not a crucifix, it's a symbol of faith.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean,
man.
yeah, that was yeah, I believe that was the one where they did fight Dracula, and yeah, I thought that was like really a good, like, okay, yeah, you have to, so for this, it's I'm doing it a little bit different, but it explains why he's, I mean, besides the obvious, well, good versus evil, but I'm putting a little bit more behind that, but I don't want to give away it's I want to say it, but then I don't want people like, no, that's stupid, I'm not going to read the rest of it. So I don't know. I'm trying to think if we can give a hint. Yeah.
Well, it really gets into good versus evil in the second book. And folks, you're going to have to pick this one up, because the art in the I'm going to just scroll down here, because you got
Sure.
pages showing here.
Sure. Yeah.
First of all, you want to get the two books, because I feel like if I put the first book and the second book together, it makes a puzzle. Because you have the same building structure behind them. And I was like, oh, is this one big poster thing? I don't know.
No, it just turned out, actually, the truth be told, okay, if the thing was, originally this was going to be the cover, and I had, just because of the recent events, I had like I want to be, I always say this, though, sound like a total asshole. I had some victims down here, right? And I drew this cover in last November, okay?
Okay.
And of course, any kind of shooting is a bad thing. It's a horror comic, and I wanted to show that it's this is a bad thing, and maybe
bad things happen in them, yeah.
Yes, and so then when I was putting this out, finally finished this, then Uvalde happened, and the other two happened in New York and Tulsa, and I felt like totally like a piece of crap. Like I was like, I can't do this. So then I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm drawing a new cover. So this became the cover, and I was like, tells a story, and he's all shot up. So I mean, that's a bit different, but that's like, oh, why is he all like damaged and stuff like that? And
he bleeds green in accordance with the Comics Code Authority.
Yeah, yeah, right. I was kind of like, okay, what I was like, what, breeze blue fire? So I was like, okay, let's just do green. So then I realized, it's like, wait a second, people think like they were throwing like lettuce at him or something.
Well, I'll tell you, because I hadn't.
What's that?
I was making the thumbnail for the video before I read the PDF. So I had that cover part pulled over in a second tab, had the original thumbnail pulled over like I did, and again, not having opened the PDF yet, I did not recognize this as the devil character. I thought this was a villain character.
Oh,
because the face was different, and there was all the bleeding and everything. I didn't catch the symbol on the front.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I'm just gonna. I had taken the picture, and I had removed all the background to where it was just him, and I was going to overlay him on the same original picture as though he was coming up, and evolve that picture to was like he was going to be attacking. And when I got that far, I'm like, wait a second, they're the same character. That doesn't make any sense anymore. Just go with the original thumbnail. And then when I got into the PDF, I'm like, oh, well, now I can see. Well, yeah, that was the thing. I just wanted to show like something kind of different. And I was like, so this was kind of a last minute. When I was finishing the book, and I'm like, you know what? It's just it's also for like, just my conscience was just like, I can't do it like that. So, I was like, okay, new cover, do this. It looks great. Diego knocked it out of the park with the colors. And then I was like, well, I did the artwork and already sold the original artwork on the Kickstarter back in last November. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm still going to use this, but I'm going to cover the bottom with smoke. So it's not as violent, and I don't feel bad, and people aren't disturbed by it, and they're being like, what the hell are you, what's wrong with you, that kind of thing. And I just felt like bad. So cover it with smoke, and then I was like, okay, limited print run. That's it. And so I think maybe I might have solved that problem. I don't know. But I think so. Now should I look anywhere on this cover for number 2 for, after McFarlane? Is that a Spider-Man #1 homage to that pose there?
Yeah, no. I had done a bunch of sketch, like I started drawing a bunch of covers because I was a bit, I'll be honest, I was a bit in a panic because again, this is around Vivaldi, this cover, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do, like, I just felt really bad, right? And I didn't, so I was like, okay, so what I did was I drew a bunch of, started drawing a bunch of covers, and I drew this one. And I was like thinking, well, what happens in the story? And I have it that he confronts one of the villains and then, takes a couple, gets riddled with bullets. So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of pulp-esque, where the hero or the main character is all shot up and stuff. So I had him like crouching, but I didn't really have, and then I kind of realized that, oh, it's the Amazing Spider-Man 1, which I try not to do anymore. Like, I'm trying not to do any McFarlane homages.
There's only so many ways you can crouch.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, I mean, I deliberately, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to have his left hand, instead of like, draped over his knee, I'm going to have it like up like that he's going to like put a curse on the villain there, or do some, because he also has some other magical powers as well.
That's right. And that was what was fun about meeting him as a character in the first book is, you've got this whole Tim Burton Batman kind of scene here where the family's leaving the theater and the parents are being robbed kind of thing. It wasn't that is the movie. This was, just people in an alley getting robbed and somebody. Yeah, I had it that. Well, I had it that I saw, like, okay, so I kind of took it from real news because here in Winnipeg, there was a person in a wheelchair was mugged and like thrown out of the wheelchair. And then, so I was kind of like, that's horrible. But then I was like, okay, well then this sort of like life imitating art kind of thing, or art imitating life. So I just have it that it's like an elderly couple and they just get out of the hospital and the elderly lady just had like an operation, but then these, people on substances just need money and, just go and throw her out of the wheelchair and kick her in the head. And it's like, it's violent. Yeah, I know. And it's like, but I want to also show that the bad guys are real bad guys. And that's, so. They have to do bad things if they're going to be bad guys. I mean, exactly. Yeah. Like I don't have my villains aren't very likable, like, so. Yeah. And then before we even see the devil, his presence approaching, it starts with, the big villain, the big thug, his teeth are falling out. They're just falling out of his mouth. You're like, what the hell's going on here? And then he, tells his, female, companions, your hair, and you look, and you're like, she's like going through chemo. Her hair's just all falling out in tatters. Yeah. Yeah, that was the other thing too. I really want to play up on like give him some like witch powers, and I thought about like we hear about things on witchcraft, like people curses of people's hair falling out, their teeth falling out, and of course I just wanted to make it that Mercy Devil can affect the bacteria in your stomach lining and make you sick, or decay stuff kind of thing. So if he can concentrate on it though, so he can do a lot of different things here. This is in the second book, but this is the continuation of the origin of the devil, I believe. Yeah, that's kind of get his origin in pieces as the present story moves along. Yeah, like I do it like and I'm not trying to say I'm Quentin Tarantino, but I do it in the way that I don't do it chronologically. So every beginning of the book always opens with a little bit of the origin section. So here's like in issue 1, it opened up in '96, and he's in the funeral home, and then gets scratched by the cursed statue and stuff. You go 25 years later, same guy, but now he's older, and he's you see what job he's working, and it's not very satisfying. And that also I'm drawing from life, because that's the same job I had for many times. So then he's 25, and then it shows that he basically ends up in a morgue, and they're ready to close the door on him and call it a day, but he kicks it open, and he's like, how the hell? So he went 25 years without exhibiting any powers. Yeah. That's very cool. That's a far cry from the make it home to my bedroom. Why am I levitating over my mattress? Yeah, but the thing is, there had to be a catalyst for those powers to activate. So that was death. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, that was the thing. Because I wanted to throw in the scene of like, waking up in a morgue with dead bodies, because you hear those urban legends. And it's not urban legends, you actually hear accounts of people in a morgue and they wake up in a morgue. And then so I always found that would be like really really disconcerting and really cold too. So
That's why we embalm them so they don't do that.
yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Or it's like right when they bought. So you always hear like stories of that. So I thought, okay, well, and that's the thing with this whole series is I take stuff of true crime and urban legends or stuff and just throw them all together in the same city and just like that, because I've always been like intrigued by like unsolved mysteries from the 80s, right, with Robert
Sure.
Stack and all that stuff. And that's what I thought. So I was just like, okay, well, and then also I love Batman, right? And I like Grendel and the Shadow, and I like Pulp. So I was like, okay, well, let's put it like that kind of thing. So I've had this kind of basic idea in my mind since like 1990. So it was the Tim Burton Batman movie that did it. So
This is very, very much Hunter Rose Grendel. I can see that in the aesthetics of all of this too.
yeah, definitely. Matt Wagner stuff is not only just his Grendel, but even Mage to a degree, but especially any Matt Wagner Batman story is just the absolute best, I find. So
my grade school art teacher told us the story of a funeral where elderly lady was laying in the casket. It was one of those glass top caskets, and somebody said, "Are we sure she's dead?" The guy's like, "Why?" Like, because there's steam on the inside of the glass. Okay. And he's like, "Well, if she's not dead now, she will be in an hour because we're planting her in the ground." I was like, "Damn, that's cold."
There's no way they can do that. I consider it a homicide. Then it's like they gotta like okay. Well, I think that they could have said that, but honestly, I think someone would have had to like open up and check, or at least put a mirror under her nose.
Yeah, do something. But like you don't go into the coffin until all your blood's drained out anyway, so you're good and dead.
Where did this story take place?
I don't know. It was, like I said, I was in third grade, so that throws it into the 70s.
Okay, so third grade. So in this, so was it even? Did it happen in the States, or was this like some other country where
it was in the States?
Okay.
He was just, I don't know what he was doing to us little kids, but he traumatized me for decades.
Okay. Yeah, that would be definitely
being buried alive was a nightmare after that. Now I've seen this guy, and I missed some sort of reason for his not Superman symbol on his chest here.
Okay.
It's like it's an L and a P.
Yeah, it's I was trying to be artsy. That character's name is Pluto, god of the underworld. So he's a former cemetery worker that basically does bad stuff in the old abandoned cemetery he used to work in because he knows his way around. So he thinks he's Pluto, god of the underworld. So that's the like symbol for Pluto, or one of the many symbols of Pluto. So I was just like, okay, we'll just yeah.
He's Moonlight Killer.
Moonlight Killer. Oh, Moonlight Killer is the other guy with the Moonlight Killer. I based off of the Arkansas Moonlight Killer, or Arkansas. He was a real. It was a true crime story, and there was a movie called the Town That Dreaded Midnight, Sundown. Sorry.
I know that one.
So I based it on that, and I should have. And I apologize to everyone. I should have like drawn his head more like a pillowcase kind of thing, because everyone's like, "Oh, it's Cobra Commander." So it's like whatever. I was like, yeah, I guess so. I'm like totally thinking, well, how can I make this a bit different? Because I was thinking like, well, I'll give him a cowl because it's more like a pulp trope, kind of thing. But whatever. So but the Moonlight Killer, he's not a nice guy, and neither is Pluto, and they're just horrible people. So you kind of want to cheer the Murder City Devil for stopping them right away, But that's the thing in the story of the Murder City Devil, since he's still kind of new at this, he doesn't really go about the right way. It just kind of goes in like guns blazing, which isn't necessarily the best idea. So,
if you want a serial killer from Arkansas, I happen to live in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. We have our own serial killer.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Had our own serial killer. He's hopefully long dead now.
Which one?
Dr. Norman Baker.
Yeah.
And the hotel, the I can't remember the name of the hotel right now. It's haunted.
Okay.
It's verified as haunted. Too many people seeing too many things.
Right.
It used to be a hospital. It was Dr. Baker's hospital, and he was like a Kellogg. He's like, this is, come to the hot springs. I'm going to cure everything from cancer to the common cold.
Yeah.
And he did this by vivisecting his patients and putting their organs in jars.
Yeah.
And even recently, like within the last year, groundskeepers at the hotel dug in an area and found more jars of body parts floating in liquid. He was apparently a very colorful character in the town. But
yeah, Dr. Wood. Yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah, I've heard that name. Yeah. That I've heard of that.
I thought about dressing up with him for Halloween, but
Oh, okay. It's like, here's a jar.
Yeah. Well, apparently he'd like to wear purple shirts and pinstripe suits, and he had a real thick watch chain that was just like real showy, and a very foppish kind of hat. He was a standout kind of character in a crowd.
Okay,
and
his hospital's now a hotel.
Yeah, it's a hotel with a pizza restaurant on top. Really good pizza.
Well,
but yes, you can hear moans and groans. There's a second floor hotel room where a girl throws herself off the balcony regularly.
What is it about haunted hotels in the second floor? Because I had in Winnipeg here, we have, like, I used to work at this hotel like about 20 years ago. Like, it was like a bartender server, like banquets kind of thing. It's called the Hotel Fort Garry, although it's Hotel Fort Scary. But anyway, so the thing is, like, everyone's like, oh, it's haunted and stuff like that. And it's like room 202 is where the bride, committed suicide or something like that. And it's just weird because the whole time I worked there, and I worked like late shifts because we were, 12-hour wedding receptions or whatever, that kind of thing. Just like long days. And I think I was just too annoyed to be scared. Because, like, they'd be like, oh, we got to go up to the top, the top floor or 10th floor because we got to get some tables. Oh, but it's abandoned. Oh, but it's scary. I'm like, look, it's 3 a.m. I don't give a crap. Let's just go and do it and stuff. And then, they'd be like, oh, what happened? And I'm like, what's scarier than nothing? What? Anything. It was just like, the only time was like, so I'd go up to the 10th floor, get a table. Like, the big dinette tables that you'd have to roll them out because they're round, right? And then walk them down, right? So one of them like slammed down. It was like really loud because it's really quiet in there. But I also kind of stacked it wrong. But it kind of like was like, oh God, I'm just like, this is stupid, and I don't have time for this. And there'd be like other, places that would be kind of like, ooh, scary. But I don't know. I was more worried about like just unruly people from the street coming in and stuff.
Well, he pulled he did this one stunt that I'd only ever heard of in a Superman comic, because there's one time Superman had to give up the Clark Kent identity for good, and he was trying to establish another identity, and one of them was as a disc jockey, and the station manager was only going to hire the disc jockey who pulled in the highest ratings. So Superman, before it was his turn, flew off to the radio tower and dialed it up from 5,000 to 10,000, so it had a larger reach. And then he went back and did the show, and then he flew back and dialed it back down to where it's supposed to be. But Baker did the same thing. He ran a radio station, and he cranked up the wattage to where it was illegally reaching further than it should.
Yeah.
And then when the inspectors would come, he'd have it dialed back to the 5,000.
And
then when they'd leave, he'd dial it back up again.
What era was this? Like, was this?
Oh, let's see here. 1920s.
Okay. Huh.
He was into a lot of things. He was a vaudeville performer. And he just used it to become a quote unquote doctor and just cut into people and pulled things out that this looks interesting. Let's put that in a jar of formaldehyde and keep it.
Yeah. I wonder if he started talking like Nick Riviera. He's like, what the hell is that? Like that. But yeah, hey, interesting thing about vaudeville. All roads lead to Winnipeg. Apparently, one of the things is, so we have this playhouse. It's originally called Pantages Playhouse. Now it's called sorry. Okay, I'm getting my history. We have this theater. It was called the Walker Theater, and it's supposed to be haunted, of course, right? And they had to rename it the Burton Cummings Theater from the Guess Who because they're from Winnipeg, right? And they, sold a lot of records back in '71, and now they're fine. And so he said, I think it was at the so it was at the, as we call it, the Burt or the Walker, that back in the day it was the Marx Brothers met Chaplin there. It might have been Pantages, I don't know, but I believe it was the Walker. The Marx Brothers were doing their vaudeville show or their stage show, and then Chaplin was there and he met them. Apparently that's where he told them, he's like, you guys should really try getting into this thing called movies. And that's the story, and it happened and went back out. So yeah.
Well, I sent you a link in the private chat so that you can learn all about Dr. Norman Baker and the carbolic acid. He was injecting his patients with carbolic acid, which was exactly what the Nazis were doing at the same time to euthanize, inmates.
Oh, well, his hair's well coiffed. My goodness, that's Crescent Hotel. So and it's got a good pizza restaurant.
And I've been in there. I've been at the top of that to get a really good barbecue pulled pork pizza.
Okay.
And you can go out on the patio and wait, and literally it's a mile down. It's built on the side of a mountain, and you're just looking out forever.
Oh, sweet! I should totally check that out.
It's a gorgeous view, and it's still an active hotel. I mean, they do the ghost tours, but you can rent a room, stay the night. Let us know in the morning what you heard.
Yeah.
So here he is. I like that that you start off with a villain, the Moonlight Killer, and by the second issue, we've got that removed and out of the way. We're done. I don't care for the long, drawn out mysteries when we don't know the character yet.
Here's the thing with my series, Murder City Double. I while it's imaginative, I kind of have it like, okay, so if this was real, what would happen? These fights would be over very quickly. You know what I mean? Especially and the thing is, it's like, okay, so Murder City Double is has superpowers, so he would shut you down pretty quick. However, he's still a little inexperienced at doing all this, so that's why he kind of messes up a bit. But nonetheless, he still gets the bad guy. So I have it that and it's only like a 9-issue series that I'm trying to do. So I mean, I'm already working on issue 3. So hopefully try to have that done by January. But
it's an interesting number to end on.
Well, the thing was originally I was gonna have like a 20-issue series, but realistically, it's like I don't know if I can do that. Plus, if you pitch it to publishers, they're gonna be like, nah. And it's like, how about 4 issues or 5? And then I'm like, okay, well, what story? What do I want to say with this? And so I cut it in half, and it's like, okay, so I got 10 issues. I had 12 issues, and I cut it down to 10, and I was like, let's see if I can condense it as much. Originally there was 8, but then I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to add something else in there. So I just made it 9. So I was like, well, I'm already at issue 3. So,
well, when you put out the 9th issue now, what you do is you release a set of trading cards with that campaign.
Yeah.
Of 9 cards, all 9 issues, and it fills the front page of the trading card sheet. There you go.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things I wanted to do eventually. I couldn't do it for this Kickstarter, but for another one, or even have it just available as merch, was to do a trading card series. Because when I was younger, I had the Jim Lee X-Men cards you get at a like a bubblegum machine kind of thing, or you get you go to comic stores, you get had the Todd McFarlane card series and stuff. And then when you put them all together, there was a poster on the back kind of thing. When you get all the cards, you can. On the back of it was a puzzle piece, so you get make a poster on the back. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you even got the picture on the front. I mean, the Fleer X-Men cards. I talk about that all the time when people talk about their trading card collections. You'd put the 9 cards in, and by the time you collected 1 through 9, hey, look, it's these 9 X-Men fighting something in the danger room.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's something I was wanting to do, but I was I made I did a pinup for this, I guess, campaign just to show a villains to come kind of thing. So, sort of to give clues about stuff. So yeah, and there's some of the original artwork that that you can get with the campaign and stuff. Although surprisingly, not to brag, but those sold out the first night. So I hit the goal right away. So mind you, it was kind of low, but still, it's I really
Original art is sought after, especially when it's this quality. I mean, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your skirt here or anything, but you see some indie books where it's yep, that's the guy's first book. Maybe he'll become somebody, and this will be worth something someday. this is, this shows experience.
Thanks. Thank you. Well, like I
really
said,
like the line art on this.
I've been at it for a long time. So yeah, and here's the poster, and so I'll be doing that like 11 by 17 kind of poster, and also like a smaller version as well. Might try, yeah, but Diego knocked that out of the park too. So
these two guys look alike.
I wonder.
I met one of them. I don't know which one.
Yeah, well, one of them's I'm gonna say this. One of them's loosely based on the idea of them. He's called the Midnight Angel, but he's based on something called the Mothman. Because I thought like that's about as far as I go with cryptids. I guarantee you, no Sasquatch are going to be in this book. But I was always kind of like, okay, I have that. And then there's the other one called the Thunderbird. So,
yes.
Although I might change the name, I don't know yet. But that's the
Thunderbird story happened in my neck of the woods when I was living in Illinois.
Oh yeah,
Belleville, Illinois, in the 70s. Some giant bird swooped down and picked up a toddler and flew it a certain distance and let go of it. And apparently the kid's hair turned white.
Okay.
And nobody was ever able to identify the bird, but it's around Alton, Illinois. And there's these cliff paintings of the Piasa bird that the Indians painted up there. They're like, we saw a real Piasa bird. I'm like, yeah, it's big as Rodin, just,
yeah, right. Yeah, no doubt. That how in proximity? I know where Chillicothe, Illinois is.
Belleville and Alton are right on the eastern side of the Mississippi River across from St. Louis.
Okay.
So they're circling St. Louis there.
Okay. So yeah.
So yeah, we've had our share of cryptids up there. Momo, the monster.
That's about like I just kind of wanted to throw it in, and it was just sort of like I mean I had this, like I said, I had this idea stewing for a while kind of thing, and it's like I said, the series essentially is just like, what if you had all these urban legends and true crime? A lot of them are based on true real world costume criminals, and so I thought, why don't just have them all together in the same city for a giant brouhaha kind of thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I love Spring Hill Jack. I think I told you on the first show. How was it, a year ago, 2 years ago? How long ago?
It was last year, last December, I believe, or last December.
Yeah, because I was in my former house when we had this discussion. I moved since then, been here for a year and a half. So, but I remember there was a Spring Heel Jack sighting in the Southwest.
Yeah.
And it was at a grade school. They didn't say it was Spring Heel Jack. They said, the students saw Batman.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And like he was like 7 foot tall, ran across the backfield and leaped over a barbed wire fence and kept going. I was like, yeah, I mean, if you saw it today, a kid today, the pop culture references, they would make a different connection.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And it's like, although you wouldn't call it Spring Hill Jack because no one knows what the hell that means these days. I don't even know what that means. And it's like, isn't exactly, like, it just sounds weird.
You see something big and tall wearing black and a cape, and you're like, Batman.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean and that's what I kind of based this series on, just like these weird. Although it's funny, you know what? The one thing I was trying to, I don't know if anyone got this. I don't know, maybe you caught it, but the identity of the villain that Murder City Devil puts in the headlock, and then I don't know if anyone caught on that. Who that real world criminal is supposed to be, but whatever.
I'll go back and look again.
Yeah, I just because I kind of like left a bunch of clues, especially in the last page where he's like on the phone yelling at someone and stuff. But I was just kind of like,
was he the one who was being serviced?
No. That's another villain. That's these two guys actually are like I guess co-captains. They run the things in town. They run the mob. The one that was being serviced is based on another real world criminal. So, and you see him in issue 2. So, in fact, they're together and they're just arguing again. Stuff. So
that's what they do. They fight. This here is the cover for issue number 3. When do you expect that people will start seeing that one? I mean, we haven't even fulfilled this one yet, but
yeah, I'm trying to like. Ideally, I'd like to have it by January. But I always say, like, that's the thing. I always like, oh, I'll have it for this month, and I try to get it done, but then something comes up, like either a freelance gig comes up, and it's like I have to do this because bills,
You got to eat.
but I mean, it depends what happens with this, because I do have some publishers looking at this now, so I'm kind of like, okay, well, let's see what happens. So we'll it's really all up in the air right now. So as it stands, I'll just finish the campaign for 2, and then like I'm working on 3 right now and trying to get done. Oh, here comes a plane.
But it might come through SourcePoint or some other publisher.
Not SourcePoint, but there might be another publisher that I've been talking to that likes it. So, but I'm not going to say because I don't want to jinx
Don't want to
anything.
jinx it, and plus you're probably under an NDA of some sort or other.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I just really this is cover 1 without the lettering, and like I said, I just love that imagery.
Thank you.
That's very, very cool.
Thank you.
Covered a number. This is, I think, 2.
Yeah, that's the variant.
The
Yeah.
one. Are these being offered as prints? Is that why they're being?
Yeah, they are. Yes, that's right. I'll be having them as prints. Like if you get the big packs and stuff like that, you get like 11 by 17 print. But I'll also have them as like mini prints and stuff, and usually just throw that in as an extra, anyways. So.
Okay, folks, you can get 1 and 2 in digital format for just $8 Canadian, which is like a couple of sticks of bubble gum in American money. No, US $6.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you want the real deal, you can get number 2 signed no less, for a mere $8. Now I'm sure the shipping on this is going to be an issue-ish, because it's international shipping.
Yeah, a little bit. But
you guys have weird shipping over there anyway, because that's one of the things that I do now is I'm a shipper for all these crowdfundings and fulfillment stuff.
Yeah.
And I have a hub in Australia. I'm like, okay, here's all the Australian books, send them domestically from you. So here's all the stuff for Europe, send them domestically from you. I tried to do that in Canada, and I found out Canada's not a country. Canada is a dominion of provinces. And from province to province is just as good as from the US to the UK. It's another country. So I was like, well, that sucks, because I was shipping from Ontario to Newfoundland for the same cost as if I'd sent it from here to Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just live here. I don't make the policies.
Just say I'm sorry and be Canadian about it.
Yeah, sorry about that. And like, I'm sure I don't know. It's kind of wacky sometimes. Sometimes you have like these regulations that totally make sense, and others are just like, huh? What?
It put a crimp in a very good plan.
Yeah, no doubt.
So for like I said, for $8, get number 2 signed. For $15, you can get that variant cover, and like you said, there's 3 left, 3 out of the 10.
Well, I got the variant actually for 20, just because I like, you can get the for 20 Canadian, which is
20 Canadian, 15 US. So
that's right. Yeah. So
I'm reading the little letters here.
Yeah, and I just got like three of these left. So and that's the thing, and I'm just gonna like number them also like individually. I might just and probably just sign it. And I usually like with my Kickstarters, like I said, I usually throw in like a little mini poster and then write like a personal note, like thanks very much, I greatly appreciate it, because I do. It's really nice that people dig this story I have and produced and stuff, and I really, really seriously appreciate it. And thanks again for having me on. I appreciate that.
Glad to do it. Folks, there's more packs to come down here for, they're not super expensive packs. I mean, your prize pack here, you're getting these prints added in here along with numbers 1 and 2 of in physical. And then, you got the Cyclone Comics Total Happy Fun Pack for $55 Canadian, 41 US.
Oh yeah, that's the Lucha mystery books. That's the other series that I write and draw as well. Embarrassing. Yeah, so you basically get like 5 of my books.
There's a whole other show to be built around that series now.
Yeah, like I get like you can get the Super Happy Fun Pack. It's like 5 issues of Evan Quiring goodness, and
look at that. Okay, so now do these worlds ever collide?
Oh yeah, question. Yeah, they do in the fact that in Lucha Mystery Exists in Murder City Devil, like it's a movie, it's a Netflix series kind of thing. So they mentioned that in the first one. So I'll have it in the second.
Cool.
In issue 3, it's going to be Halloween. So I'll have like Aaron Sparks, the I guess civilian identity of Mercy Devil, will be wearing a Ray Diablo mask because it's Halloween. So, and he really likes Lucha Mystery. It's one of his favorite series. So, you know,
All
so
right.
that's how it kind of like exists. That's how they do the crossover kind of thing. So.
The rest of the packages here just build on top of that and include some original art. So if
Mhm.
you are an original art collector, you're going to want to hit that up.
Yeah.
We are still at 50 backers. Okay, so chat, where are you? Where's my support, chat? I needed you guys on this to make me look good. 18 days left to go. I mean, so I didn't talk about the goal yet, but I want to ask real quickly. You had a $588 goal because this has been converted to US.
Okay.
That's why it looks like a really weird goal.
Okay, for a second there, I thought it was like, did someone like back out? Because I was like, I had more than that. I was like, I had more.
Yeah, it's
kind of
and it's like 1708 US.
Okay.
Yeah, you had an $800 goal.
Yeah.
And you've quadrupled what you needed to get.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I mean, it's again, this is like I'm sort of still. It's just my second Kickstarter I ever had, so I'm still kind of like, does anyone really want to read this stuff? I don't know, and it's like, so I'm still kind of testing it out and just like.
I think they do.
Yeah,
but how does this stack up to the last Kickstarter? Are you ahead? Are you catching up?
Last Kickstarter, I believe, was 2640 that I ended on. So now this is 2323. So this one's doing okay because I still have like about 18 days left. So I still have just a little over 2 weeks. Like I said, this Kickstarter, like when I launched it, first launched it on the Friday night, on September, was it 23rd? I believe when I launched it, it was like my messages and like my phone just like blew up because I got all this stuff happening, and the top tier prizes or whatever rewards were done already. So I had to message them like, okay, which piece of art do you want? Kind of thing. It's like kind of scrambling, and then the 800 was reached like in a couple of hours. So I was like, okay, that's a good sign. And then it kind of a bit of a lull, but I just sort of. I just sort of mentioned it like on Facebook and Instagram and I kind of put it up on ArtStation and stuff like that. And I was going to do a live stream of me drawing the sketch cards because that's another rewards that I'm giving out. And those are limited number too because I had like these pack of sketch cards. So I only have like 8 left. So I'll be doing a live stream at some point on Facebook. I don't know, maybe tomorrow or next Monday, but see how that goes.
The shipping is incredibly cheap. I don't know how
Mhm.
you're going in. I know what you're doing. You're going into the hole, because
Well, yeah,
ship
I
to the
mean,
United States for $8 Canadian.
well, yeah, like that was. I'm just going on what it cost last time I sent it out. So it was like for a little packet I have in there, like it was about $8. So
Yeah, I mean, when
so
I send a Gemini mailer of standard size from here to Canada, it's 20 Canadian. At
yeah,
least.
well, that's the thing. I'm kind of going another way, having that I worked in a mailroom as well. I have it like in an envelope, and I sort of like have more backing boards in it, and it's like tight and it doesn't really bend. Like I don't have any Gemini mailers, unfortunately. Sorry, folks, I don't have them. So I mean that kind of saves on cost. Plus, but I mean, again, having worked in a mailroom, I understand how packaging. It's like, so it's pretty. You're going to be pretty safe with that. And then I have it also like it's in plastic too. So we got that. And then with the other ones, I have like bubble mailers. And they're like, again, like because I've been sending artwork for a couple of years now. So I kind of know what works kind of thing. Your stuff will be
nothing wrong
like
with a
very
bubble mailer as long as you've got that thing, packed between steel plates. The game is this: let the post office do their best to try to destroy it and make sure they can't.
Bunch of savage. Oh my God, Canada Post, they're a bunch of savages.
Oh, US the same. If they can get that to fit in your mailbox, it doesn't matter if they're like, okay, it overlaps it by an inch. Can we curl that inch down and shove it in? If they can get it in, if it fits, it posts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is just so I try to have it like as nice as possible, and people don't get. I didn't get any complaints from last time, so I think I didn't.
Right.
And I made sure like everyone got their stuff. So I mean that's because I mean they're taking the time out and their money to do this. That's the least I can do. So I always like follow up and like, did you get your stuff? Especially the artwork and stuff. So it's like,
Yeah, I hear that.
yeah.
All right, so I am obviously in the middle of making a pledge, folks.
Oh,
so I encourage you all to do the same thing. I don't know who's hitting my phone with all this stuff. Stop messaging me, everybody. You're interfering with my thumb taps. Because I need to check my PayPal. See where I'm at. Yeah, I'm in a good place with PayPal. So, oh, wait, this is Kickstarter. No, I will. I will not do this on the air because I'm going to use my checking account and then I'm going to write it in my checkbook. If I use my PayPal, I don't write it down. And I've had this happen. I go out 2 more weeks and I'm like, oh, I have $40 in PayPal.
Yeah.
Let's go to the bar and have, a nice dinner at we have a place called Twin Peaks here.
Okay.
It has absolutely nothing to do with David Lynch's television series.
Oh, darn. Okay.
It's more like Hooters, but with steak. Figure it out. You can do it. Why they call it Twin Peaks. And, yeah, okay. I see that light bulb. It just went right off over your head there.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Okay. How's the steak? Well, how's the steak?
It's actually pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Food's decent, but I'm also somebody who likes Hooters wings too. And
okay.
But I'll do that, and then I'll be like, yeah, I've got money in PayPal. I'm gonna treat myself to dinner tonight. And then Kickstarter the next morning's like, where's that money you said we could have? I'm like, I gave it to you 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We just now came for it.
Exactly.
I've had Kickstarter. I've had it happen with campaigns that I was backing.
Yeah.
And I backed live on the show. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get that because it was like. And this is how bad my memory was. It was like 2 days left on the campaign. I had no excuse for the money being gone from PayPal. I should have remembered.
Did you get like a phone call from like the credit company, like calling? It's funny. It reminds me of that. There was like apparently, according to WrestleCrap.com, love that site. Shout out. There you go. There you go, RD. They had Ultimate Warrior did a home workout video or something. This is like when he was like going to business for himself, and apparently the phone rings, and it picks it up. It's like a credit card company asking why he missed a payment. I'm like, why that wasn't edited out, I have no idea. But hey, who am I to judge?
It made him more human. People watching. I've had that happen to me. It happens to you too. Huh?
Exactly. Even the ultimate way.
Yeah, no, they just send an email and they're like, hey, you need to change payment information. Nothing was lost, but it was the embarrassing part was that my pledge was what put it over the next stretch goal. Because I wanted that stretch goal, and I was like, well, $30 for the next thing. You're only 25 away. Yeah, I want that $30 package. It hit that stretch goal. Well, when I gave them the funds for real, they gave me the confetti page again, and it was like I knocked it $5 above the stretch goal this time. I was like, oh shoot, we lost the stretch goal. But I've known people who were funded and then not funded because when Kickstarter went for the money, it enough credit cards were funded that they
that happens. I mean that and that it's one of those things. I mean, it's like you think it's like you want to pay, and it's unfortunate, and then like it's a little disheartening if you're running a campaign. You're like, oh, I got some money. Wait, it went down. Oh darn.
How did that happen? It definitely does happen. Yeah, I've had that on a show before where I was like, and let's see what I talked somebody into refunding. I don't.
Oh my god. Oh, that mentioned like having that like the Jerry Lewis telephone or something. See that total how it goes down.
Yeah, we had to give the money. Somebody unpledged.
Yeah, it's like, here's Willie and Lester. Let's go to a commercial.
Man, you're old enough to remember the Jerry Lewis telethon, huh?
Oh
Used
yeah.
to-
Oh, that was an event. Oh my, you knew it
It
was like
was
you
for me
knew.
too. I stayed up at a friend's house all 3 days, no sleep for three. We were like 13, 14.
You know,
That thing's
did you
over. We were wired.
did you actually did you actually call? Like, did you actually pledge?
Yeah.
Or am I actually oh, really? You did?
Yeah, we called and pledged. We put in a
Okay.
challenge to all the other kids in our town of 900 people total to donate, and then
Well,
uh,
you
and then we
know.
went door to door to get the money and sent it in. So it was,
Did you ever?
and
Hey,
it
did you
wasn't
ever
much.
have on Halloween? Did you ever have like UNICEF?
I
UNICEF.
remember Trick or Treat for UNICEF. I've never had anybody come and do it. I only learned about it from like Richie Rich and Casper because
Okay.
they
Yeah.
had
No,
those little
because I don't.
one-page comics.
Well, because like when I was in like elementary school, grade school, we'd have like UNICEF, and then you'd say back in the day. Okay, so here's the thing in Canada, like we're in Winnipeg. In my day, we wouldn't say trick or treat. We'd say Halloween apples. Yeah, I don't know. I just lived here. I did that anyway. So we'd do like Halloween apples, right? And of course, you get can't other stuff besides apples, right? Thank God. So you get that, and then be like, UNICEF. Here's some pennies. Back when
Yep.
Canada had pennies, and like,
That's all they wanted was the pennies. You didn't have to
oh
collect
yeah,
dollar bills. Just,
yeah. It's like, so then you'd have, you were supposed to like bring the box and give back to your teacher or whatever, and whatever the money disappears and whatever. So I don't know if it went
yeah.
to like the teacher's lounge fund or to actually to UNICEF. But I know there's like one family who I'm not going to name, and they had a lot of kids, and they just like keep the pennies for themselves.
Gotta feed them kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they like I said, they only wanted pennies. They didn't want any other. For all I know, they were melting them down to make copper pipes to transport water. Because
if maybe, like that I just, or just lay them on the track and have them all squished, and it's like, oh, the queen got defaced. So that was,
Yes.
back when we had the queen on the money, but that's another. Yeah, well, yeah, that's the other. Being a Commonwealth country.
That's what I learned from House MD. You have you're British. I'm Canadian. You have the queen on your currency. You're British.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's. We had to sing "God Save the Queen" like again in grade school. We had to do the whole regimen. "God Save the Queen," sing "O Canada," sing the Lord. Yes, we sang the Lord's Prayer. To do all that, and then eventually it just was just like I think they trimmed it down to "O Canada," which was good because by the time we were done everything, it was already like 10:30 in the morning.
Time to go.
Yeah,
We're done singing for the day. That's
Yeah,
all we got to
exactly.
learn to be good
Yeah.
citizens.
Yeah,
All right,
something.
Evan.
Sure.
We've gone a little longer here, and I'm going to
I'm
let you get
sorry.
back to. No, I've got nothing to do.
Okay.
This is my life. My bed's here. My fridge is there. The computer's here. This is
Okay.
where I am. 12
Okay.
hours a day.
Okay.
So,
Right.
I've got nothing. I
Okay.
have no life. But you
What?
may
Oh,
have.
come
one,
on.
so
Well,
let
what
me-
would you like to? Did any of the people following? Did they figure out the identity of the villain at the end of issue 1? Anyone? I'll get them. I'll do a little sketch for you if anyone gets it.
Ooh.
Anyone? You?
Well, if anybody here has actually read issue 1, let us know, and if you figure out the
Mhm.
villain.
Mhm. I should like do a contest like and see who's actually reading my damn books.
Yeah, but do it. You have a YouTube channel of your own?
Yeah, I do. It's just Evan Quiring. It just right now has all the interviews that I have on there and reviews, as well as the trailers I have for Murder City Dev 1, 2, and some other stuff like just some me inking to
You should do
some music I have.
do some live draw streams. People really tune in for those.
Yeah, I'm going to start doing that because starting to do that because I had a lot of my colleagues saying you should really do this because then people will actually know that you draw and stuff. Because I always think that it's like the most boring things. Like, why would anyone want to watch me draw this crap?
I don't. I can't watch the draw streams because it's quiet. The guy very seldom ever talks up, and if he does, then he's not drawing. So then not a draw stream.
That's the one thing though. Anytime I've done like I think a draw stream once or twice, like for the campaign, and I would just be babbling because I can just talk about pretty much anything, as you know, and You know, it's like, oh, I remember that. I remember, you know, this kind of, you know, it's always like some sort of story or something that goes with it. But I can just like usually just talk about my my foolish life. I guess. So,
That's what fans want to know about. But yeah, do some draw streams and you know, let us know about them. And you know, be aware that CromCon it's only the 3rd, 4th of October, Pops. But yeah, you have to sign up early to get these slots because they do fill up on the Madness Comics Network, the CromCon 3-day online convention, all day long, most of the night long.
oh my goodness! Wow, it's almost like a Jerry Lewis telethon.
It very much is every month, last weekend of the month. So
yeah,
this was the 30th one. Pops has been at this for a long time.
So it's like if Pops is like Jerry Lewis, then who's like Dean Martin?
Oh, that would be Doc Blaylock. Doc Blaylock is the Dean Martin to Pops is Jerry Lewis.
Okay.
No, I take that back. Doc's too much of a straight man.
Would it be Rich?
I think Rich Parada would be the Dean. Rich Parada would be the Dean Martin because Dean used to tipple a lot, and Rich looks like he could pull that off.
Yeah, I guess he looks like he could croon. I think Rich is a crooner, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna have to ask Rich to sing next time he's on the stage.
I think it would be, you know, I don't like to assume things, but I just see that and it's like I think that man may have a voice of an angel.
They're both Italian. Let's hear some "That's Amore" from him. You know.
Hey.
All right, Evan. Thank you so much for bringing the Murder City Devil onto the channel tonight. We do appreciate it. Wish I could have gotten you something for all the effort, but it apparently does come on the replays. Beautiful. I love those covers. Covers.
Well,
they will be in my collection soon.
Yes.
If you're watching this on the replay, and you know that you are, because if you're not here now, it's then. And I know it's now for you, but it's then for us. The link is still below the video. Click it. Go to the Kickstarter page that is no longer on this screen, but is on that monitor that I'm pointing to, like you can see it. And you know, throw some money at this. It's cheap. It's you know, you're buying Canadian comic books, so you're already saving money.
Yeah, exactly.
How many? I know how many pages these are, but I can't remember the exact count. It's a standard floppy. It's like 24 pages.
Yeah, it's standard floppy. But I'm telling you, my friends, I believe. Let me tell you about my world, and that is a world of value. Okay, so you'll get high quality art, which you can try to get the glare out of here. High quality art, high quality writing, and you will get it. It's like a salad of 1,000 delights. You will not regret. It's a good read. Just trust me on this.
Yeah, I've read it. I've read it, folks.
Yeah,
it's a good
exactly.
read. I want and you know, having read it, I still want the physicals in my possession. So, so you're going to want them too. So get out there and back Murder City Devil. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for popping in tonight. We don't have a show without you. We're just a podcast falling in the woods. So it's my standard sign off. I don't know why. It just seems to work for me. I used to have the old Fibber McGee. It's people like you make people like me like people like you. But that just sounded corny, so I don't say that anymore.
I like it because it makes no sense whatsoever. But it sounds good.
I'm a real big old time radio buff, so you know, Jim and Mary and Jordan's stuff. I mean, the guy was just on it with the alliterative patter popping out of his mouth. I was like, how did he think that fast? And I think that about all the radio people. At the Abbott and Costello show is one of my favorites.
Was it? Well, it wasn't a radio show, but you bet your was it one with Groucho?
You Bet Your Life.
Yeah, okay, right.
That was say the magic word and the duck will come down.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when Tor Johnson was on there, that was hysterical. It was like
Groucho was another one who was just so fast in his head.
Oh yeah.
If these guys had gone into nuclear physics instead of comedy, we'd be having flying cars by now.
Yeah. Well said.
Oh,
so
okay.
True.
Everybody in the chat, appreciate you. And while you were here,
Yeah.
I just hope you had a blast. Good night.